Trust me. Later that day, the team goes out hunting again, and they are finally looking like more of a party since can handle more than one goblin at a time. They've all learned new skills from their respective guilds, and that makes a huge difference in their combat capabilities. Yume learned a diagonal slash skill because she still sucks at aiming with a bow, and Haru got a backstabbing skill. Shigoru is finally not missing all her spells, and Monado has acquired the most useful of all, the Holy Bonk. The party is finally making some decent profit, so they are now officially slightly less poor. They take a break to eat while they talk, and Yume begins rambling on about her hunting god and what it does in her dream, annoying Ranta, but amusing Monado, who is really happy to have such a great party to go on adventures with. Moguzo is the reliable tank that keeps their defense strong. Ranta is the loose cannon that gets them into a lot of trouble, but also helps push forward. Yume is the bravest of the group, and Shihoru is always aware of their surroundings when they fight. They could probably handle 4 goblins now with all the experience they've gained, but notice that Monado didn't mention anything about Haru. He was fine with it since he could just ask about it later, but things have been going well for too long now and shit is about to hit the fan. The goblins aim at Monado with a crossbow, but Haru notices it in time and pushes him out of the way, getting shot in the process. All this time they have been jumping goblins, but they never prepared for the day that they would get jumped. Monado takes Haru to shelter and begins healing his wound, but the others are being attacked by this absolute unit of goblin, and they are all forced to retreat. However, the goblin are on some next level hating when it comes to Monado because this one gets on a perch and aims at him again, shooting him in the back. Monado obviously felt the literal arrow in his back, but in order not to worry his teammates, he tells them he's fine and keeps going. They finally get away from the goblins, and this is when Monado collapses due to, once again, a literal arrow in the back. Probably should have mentioned it a mile back. They are all panicked and try to help him, but after all the running while wounded, he doesn't have enough strength left to heal himself and can do nothing but apologize to them for dying here. Monado was a good man. He probably should have at least said, by the way, I got shot with an arrow before he ran out of stamina, but rest in peace regardless. Show him some love in the comments. The group rushes over to the church to find the head priest that has been training Monado, but when they ask for him to heal their friend, he says there is nothing he can do for someone that has already passed on. The best they can do for him now is to cremate his body so he doesn't go through the torment of becoming a zombie here. With a heavy heart, after cremating his body, they bury Monado's ashes and sit around the gravestone mourning his death. Ranta is the first to get up and walk away here, while Yume cries and the others just sit silent. It's finally sinking in for them that Monado was the one who kept them together, and now he's gone, they don't know what to do. Later on, Haru and Moguzo find Ranta drinking at a bar that Monado used to go to, and they sit down to talk to him for a bit. He says he is done with this whole volunteer soldiers thing because they were basically forced into it, and he sees no way they can continue now without Monado. The conversation gets a little heated, so Moguzo has to calm everyone down, but Ran's point still stands since they all know Monado was irreplaceable in the party. While they talk, a guy Kiko, who was part of the group they first appeared here with, walks up to them. He used to drink here with Monado, and asks where he is. The guys tell them that Monado died yesterday, and he sympathizes with them. He tells them priests have one of the highest mortality rates here since monsters always attack them first, which is why he does everything he can to defend the priest in his party. But since Monado is gone now, all they can do is continue to push forward. However, without a priest in their party, they are sure to die sooner or later. But this is where Kikoa comes in clutch. He knows a bunch of people, so he could probably find a priest for them. However, before that, he has to ask them what their names were. I'm sure most guys understand the waiting for someone to say their name so he doesn't have to ask. But if he didn't ask now, he'd be stuck calling them Buddy forever. And with that, Mary was introduced to the party as their new priest. However, her personality is wildly different from Monado's, and since he has never been the leader before, Haru has no idea how to give directions. He says they will be going back to the Goblin Town for hunting, but their usual strategies no longer work because Mary never learned the Holy Bonk and she is not willing to go out to fight. She's a healer, so she will only heal, and on top of that, she won't heal you if she doesn't feel like it. In the bar, they talk about how Monado was such a big help to the team when all of a sudden, Renji shows up and walks over to their table. He says he heard that Monado dies, so he is here to offer his condolences and give them a gift, a gold coin. This is a huge amount of money considering that after all their work, the team has yet to accumulate up to 10 silver, and 1 gold is worth 100 silver. However, Haru doesn't want to accept charity, even if it is out of concern for a lost acquaintance, so he hands the coin back to Renji. He believes Monado would have wanted them to make their own money, but the way things have been going recently, the party's teamwork is not going to cut it. They haven't even spoken to either Shihoru or Yume since he died. Later that night, Haru goes to talk to Yume when she gets out of the bath and apologizes to her for not talking to her sooner. He blames himself for not having a better handle on the situation, but she tears up and tells him it's not his fault. They are all friends and they should handle things together, so he alone is not to blame. Haru breaks down remembering Monado's last words, counting on him to take care of the team, and he and Yume embrace each other, promising to get along with everyone for the sake of the team. Now that was a touching moment and all, but as Shihoru is watching from her perspective, Yume's head is suspiciously close to Haru's pickle region, so she gets flustered and walks away while Haru is trying to tell her it's not what it looks like, and Yume just realized what Shihoru thinks happened. After explaining everything to her, Shihoru goes to apologize to Haru for misunderstanding the situation and assuming they were in some kind of relationship. Ranta jumps out of bed after hearing that and starts hounding Haru for information, but Haru maintains it was just a misunderstanding. However, Yume doesn't help matters by saying Haru was hugging her tightly while they were alone in the dead of night. They all later have breakfast in the courtyard, while they talk about the situation with Mary. Yume and Shihoru have both agreed to be nicer to Mary during their next outing, but Ranta still has a problem with her attitude. However, it wouldn't hurt if she would start fawning over him a little. For the first time ever, Maguzo is the one to give Ranta his reality check and tell him that Mary will never see him like that. They go to meet Mary, who was waiting for them to arrive, and as Haru greets her, she actually responds this time, showing that she's warming up to him a little. They get to the hunting, and this time things go more according to plan, and Mary actually heals Maguzo this time because she's okay with doing it after the fight is over. However, while things with her are better, she still isn't fully open to cooperating with the party. Later, the team heads to a bar, and coincidentally, they see Mary there as well, but she pauses for a second and looks at them before sitting somewhere else. Ranta complains that she didn't even say hello to them, but if you think about it, they didn't say hello either, so they can't really blame her for not approaching. While she sits, she gets approached by someone from a very well-known party. Later that night, Haru is feeling burdened by the weight of being a team leader, but remembering what Monado told him before he died. Haru resolves to do his best to keep the team together. On the next hunting trip, Haru puts more effort into observing his teammates and realizes that Maguzo is struggling to fight because he lost his helmet. Without it, a single hit to the head could kill him, so he's being more cautious than usual. Haru backs him up and afterwards says he'll help him get a new helmet later. The team gets into another fight and Ranta is handling some goblins when one goes after Shihoru. But luckily, Mary had also learned the Holy Bonk, so she was able to stop it. Haru thanks her for her help and asks if she would like to go grab something to eat with them. She is surprised by the offer, but hesitates a little and ultimately decides to not go with them, but she is much nicer than usual. Haru decides to go ask the person that was talking to her last time about her. Shinohara says if they are asking about Mary, then the best person to ask would be Hayashi since he used to be in her party, so he explains. They had a party in which